Hello guys, this is my second attempt at making this video. The first one was long, disorganized, had a lot of problems. Today I want to focus in on getting a game called Mirror's Edge to work. It's a pretty famous game, about 15 years old, and very remarkable for its ahead of its time visual style, which is still quite respectable even to this day. The topic of this video is getting it to run. And the first thing I want to look at is the Programs and Features set. This is just a standard Windows control panel. Drill into Programs and Features. We want to look at the Microsoft Visual C++ redistributables. This is a 15-year-old game. I think the title screen listed it as 2009, and it is compiled against Microsoft Visual C++ 2008, or that's version 9.0, and and it's now a legacy product, of course, and it's not being updated, but you want to have the latest versions on your PC, and almost everybody has a 64-bit machine these days, I'm assuming x86. So we'll make sure you have the blah 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 redistributable x64 and x86. A little bit of a warning here that after you install these two packages, make sure that A, you get them directly from the Microsoft website, no scammers or on shady side sites. Make sure you get the correct one from Microsoft. B, if you play a lot of old games, a lot of the old games will actually go in and install random versions of whatever they shipped with of this redistributable. So you make sure that you only have two of each of the years. Like there's two 2005s, two 2008s, two 2010s, etc., all the way up to 2015, which they went to a rolling model instead of a year-by-year model. So make sure that you have two and only two, especially of 2008. The others don't matter for what we're doing today. So that's the first thing you need to look at. The second thing is to set up the binaries. These are the only DLL files that I need to actually run the game. The backup directory are most of the, about 80% of the stuff that I removed from the game. Others things I just deleted. Like all of these files, you don't need them. They're especially the physics course. Now physics, let's look at some of these. The physics was a technology that was originally developed by a company called AGEA, and they had a physics processing unit, which is separate from a GPU. And okay, they were trying to make some money from themselves, and it was a fair idea, but Nvidia said, hey, we got programmable shaders. What do you think you're doing? So they bought out in physics, and now it's a Nvidia technology. So, in the recent years, I consider Vulkan the benchmark standard for technology. And what in Vulkan, what you'd have you have your vertex shaders, which are what draws the screen, and then you also have your compute shaders, which can be used for artificial intelligence, can be used for physics or whatever you need to compute. So that's how it's done these days. It's all integrated and pipelined through the game's main engine. But going back to 2009, they had basically a sub-engine which did extra physics for like exploding shards and GPU accelerated physics. Then it had your CPU physics, your graphics, and so it had a lot of different things, all condensed now into the GPU core. So going back, AMD and the chips might be a little different, but these are the only ones that we need here. Let's use a very common tool called 7-zip, and let's use 7-zip to open this DLL file as an archive. And now when we open into it, let's see what the certificate says. I haven't opened this before. Let's just take a peek at it. Oh, I guess it's some kind of digital certificate. Okay, well, anyway, most of this text, R data, and relock are what are called segments. These segments are loaded into a virtual machine. Like when you load a program, the first thing the operating system does is it creates a virtual machine. Virtual machine has its own address space and everything, and then it starts constructing the program in the virtual machine from first the exe file, then from the DLL files, and then the system libraries, until the virtual machine has a whole laundry list of stuff which makes it work. And we will look at the virtual machine once we run the program, but we're now looking at just what goes into a DEL. Now, the DLL also, this one also has some metadata, and we can open this text file, and it has very, very interesting information. Like, okay, this is a Windows 32 library. It's for was compiled by Epic Games from this source code from this package called OGG, which is a sound library. So this is a very, very old library, and this is original to the game. So these are this OGG and Vorbis. There might exist an update that's still compatible with the game. I have not searched for it, but these are the original game files. And let's zoom out, look at the version here. You know, if the mouse over pop-up doesn't work, we can just go into open the properties, look at the details, and as you can see, it's exactly the same. So all it's doing is it's just reaching in here, grabbing version.txt, and then presenting it to you. So that's how that works. As you can see, these are 10-year-old versions, 15-year-old versions of these libraries, and they work. You can note from the files, one of the libraries which I took out, which was this, again, a legacy version of OpenAL. It's now, I think there's a version in my Windows system which my basic assumption that everything in my Windows directory is more reliable than this 15-year-old game distribution. So if there is a way I can use my Windows system libraries instead of the 15-year-old game libraries, that's what I'm going to do. So I took out all the physics. I took out OpenAL, I took out wrap OpenAL, I took out PhysX AI local folder. I took out about 2/3 of these. I don't know what these are. There's some customized version of Visual C apparently, but only a handful of them are actually needed to play the game. So all the ones I don't actually need are gone. So these are the ones I actually need. And so we still have the old Vorbis. This PhysX extensions is part of the game. That it's basically a wrapper for some of the PhysX stuff. So that stays here. There's this NV cooking. Let's see. There's NV NX character.dll. That's still in Aegea. I don't know if there's an update for that. In my Nvidia drivers on my hard drive, I looked in there and I found this version 2.8.0.43 of nxcooking.dll, and I tried copying it into the game, and it still works. So I'm going to assume that the updated version from Nvidia is going to supersede any legacy version from Aegea. So I copied that from my Nvidia drivers on my program files on my hard drive, from that directory into this directory, and we're still in business. So I'm going to assume that's a good update. And there's just a lot of other stuff. And let's see, properties, details. So this is an electronics arts. It's part of the Unreal Engine 3. So we're going to assume that's the version it has to be to play the game. So we're going to leave that alone. BinkW is a third-party rad video. It's the video player. It plays the intro movies and I think some of the cutscene movies. So yeah, this is how it works. And this is the game as it needs to be to play. Let's go into the game now and take a look at. Let's just open a level and stop right there. Then we're going to go out of the game and we're going to look at this program called Process Explorer. I found it just by searching Process Explorer. I'll bring up the info screen on that when I get out of the game again. But we're going to get into a level, make sure that the game is running. All right, we're going to get in here, play chapter, training area is a bitch. I don't know where the bags are. I'm just going to load this area and maybe I'll have a flash of inspiration on where to look for the bags. Yeah, controls are a little bit odd, like you have an up and down button. And I botched the jump, but oh well. Do I care? Only slightly. See what happens if I go over here. Go over here. I thought there might be a bag hidden under there, but anyway, as you can see, the game is running quite well. The water is there and looks good. The sun and buildings. Yeah, somebody looked at this game in 8K and he says, like, whoa. but yeah, all right. So let's go back out to the. Let's just pause out of the game and look at the Process Explorer. Gonna look for light service host. Come on, find. Get a minimize a bunch of these till we find Mirror's Edge. Might be under Steam and then Mirror's Edge. Let's look under there. Yeah, there it is. Now, Process Explorer. Let's see the About tab. Help. I don't know what this is. About Process Explorer. So it's a Process Explorer by sysinternals.com. Copyright Mark Rusinovich or something similar. All right, what Process Explorer does is it allows you to peek inside the virtual machine of Mirror's Edge. So you select Mirror's Edge in the upper pane, and in the lower pane we select DLLs. And what that allows us to do is we now take a look at what actually goes inside the running file. We sort by path with all right, so these first ones, as we can see, we are loading the PhysX engine from the NVIDIA on a drive directly out of the NVIDIA's driver bundle in program files x86. I don't know why it's there. It should be just program files, but anyway, that's where it is. So we got CUDA an RT32 and underscore 65 DLL, physics loader, physics cooking, physics core, and then from Steam we have game overlay render and UI, and then from here and from Bink W32 down all the way to there we have the actual game itself with the physics extensions and all the files we just looked at in the game directory. Then we have a antivirus DLL from Windows Defender. Okay, you have to have some virus protection in there. Have some other stuff, and then here we have the drivers from Windows System and WinSys Wow64. Those are the two sources under in the C: Windows, which are these are the Windows System libraries, which are also being loaded to play the game. Now let's see if we can find any highlights in here. So we have Nvidia CUDA, Nvidia, and Direct 3D underlying a bunch of DirectX stuff. Here's an interesting one, Direct Input 8.dll, which I think that's the a legacy version of X Input. I think that's... See, my gamepad just works with this game, and I think that's because it's loading the Microsoft Direct Input from here. Let's see if we can get any more details. Well, I guess we can drill into that, but we don't need to right now. But so we have Direct Input, Direct Sound, and then a bunch of other stuff. Nothing really stands out here. I'll pick something out if I see it. So it looks like it's running through DirectX 9. I don't know whether it's actually a DirectX 9 game, but as we see here, the game is currently running on top of the DirectX 9 runtime. So that's interesting. Another direct input, an 8 on a DLL file. Direct sound, I did DirectX core. And then just a lot of and the housekeeping DLLs and functions for the MIDI. I guess it's using MIDI for something, but now here I remember when I said that to make sure you had the Microsoft Visual C runtime library. Let's take a look at the properties on this, and it looks like it looks like I was wrong. It looks like it's linked against. It's currently linking against Microsoft C runtime library version 10, not 8. So that's... I might have been wrong. I have to double check on that. I have to find the actual... here's here right here, and it actually is at the very bottom here. This is your Microsoft Visual C++ runtime library, and it is using version 8. So I think some of the other DLLs are pulling in version 10, but the game itself still requires version 8, which is right here. So make sure that you're installing a version 8, which I think is... Anyway, that's the version you must have installed to run the game correctly. Again, nothing. Here's wrap OpenAL. So whenever you mess with OpenAL, you have to mess with wrap OpenAL too if it's present. So if the program is using wrap OpenAL, you want to remove it when you also remove OpenAL, because you want them both to be the same version. So if I go up here, and yeah, there's the OpenAL, and that's about it. I mean, everything else is just generic stuff. You basically find in any Windows program will pull in these same DLLs, basically, except like for example, if you open an OpenGL game, won't load in the DirectX stuff. It'll load in an OpenGL library, and then that's about it. So we can, having checked that out, we can go back to the game, and hopefully the game is still running. Yeah, well, it doesn't matter. I've made my point, but we'll just restart the game and make sure it's still happy. It's very odd. Very, very odd. And no matter, I'll just stop the recording, I think. And I've lost control of my desktop. Woohoo. Alright, now there's a trick to fix things when you've lost control of your desktop. Now what you can... It's a nasty, nasty, nasty trick. Alright, we can go into here. Let's see if I remember the trick correctly. Yeah, let's see. I think it's Windows key tab. We select desktop 2. We are now in a separate desktop and we have control. And we can open... I have to close Taskman on desktop 1. And we can open Taskman on desktop 2. And Mirror's Edge is not responding. We kill it. And now with Windows Screen tab, we select desktop 1. And we're back in business. It's a nasty little trick which I learned the hard way. But on a... Yeah, Windows has a lot of dirty little tricks, and if you don't know them, then you don't know them, and like what the fuck. But It's an interesting challenge just presented itself, so I'm going to... The challenge which I just noticed was to get onto the catwalk at the end of this alley. Now I do not know whether I'm on the right track or I'm just imagining things, but yeah, maybe I was just imagining things. How do they expect me to look for bags when they're... And I suck. Serve and protect? Question mark, question mark. Okay. See, what am I doing here? Okay, well, there's my path. If I can get up that high. Made it through the game once before. I don't know what the... Trying to remember the secret to this room, though. Oh well.